Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I am back sharing another layout using Cut to You cut files. I think I have one more project in my design team term, and then I am going to be jumping back into some series that I have left behind on my channel. I know a lot of you have been waiting. I unfortunately have just had a lot on my plate lately. Most of it has been good, some of it not so great, but just literally getting upstairs and into my room has sort of been not in the cards for me lately. So I've just been kind of taking things day by day and getting in here when I can. This layout I actually did in like 5-minute chunks in between different things. If you are in my Facebook group, you know that we recently kind of had a puppy fall into our lap. So I've been dealing with a lot of that. And I can't really leave him downstairs by himself yet. So I kind of wait for him to pass out somewhere and I run upstairs and I can get a little bit of things done. So like in this instance, I'm actually standing to work because when I came in here, my cat was in my chair and I just didn't have it in me to kick her out when I knew I wasn't going to be in here for very long. So for those of you that craft and stand, I honestly don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I was like, dang it, get out of my chair. Like, I hate this. I knew my head was probably going to be in it, but I just was kind of going with it. Typically, layouts and videos with large gaps in between them are always kind of a rough go for me. Not really knowing what I wanted to work on, I went through my phone. I found some recent photos from my daughter's birthday. And a go-to solution for me is to find like a good title piece that I can kind of enlarge and have, like I've told you guys in the past, I like it to kind of have multiple jobs on the layout where in this instance, it's giving the information that the title would normally provide. It's giving lots of interest. It's giving me a place to have pattern paper. It's going to eventually hold some embellishments, that kind of thing. The collection that I was wanting to use was this 6x8 pad from Simple Stories. All I have is the 6x8 pad and the die cuts. Normally I would go ham with like some DIY embellishments with some die cuts and stuff like that. I did not have the time nor the energy for that today. So I went back into the Cut to You shop and I was like, what else can I kind of use to quickly make my own embellishments instead of doing like manual die cutting? And I came across those sweetheart banners and I was like, yeah, that's going to be perfect because I can squeeze in some more of the pattern paper. I have like little pieces of some of my favorite patterns, and with this just being hearts, I knew it was going to be a good fit. I did a quick run through of my paper, pulled out this super old Simple Stories paper pad. The paper in it is super thin. It's probably a little thinner than like printer paper, but I tend to use it in this method where I just kind of cut off a little bit of two sides and then I mat it on a piece of white cardstock, and that ends up working for me. I like having the white border, and then the white cardstock is actually providing stability for that super thin paper. And I'm just going with like a layout design that works for me. I just size the title. I don't really pay a lot of attention. It's probably about 11 inches wide. I figure out how many pictures do I want to use, what area do I have, what's going to work. In this instance, I cropped my photos to 2x3s, fit them on the bottom. The leftover space in between them is where I'm going to put my journaling strips. I showed how I do this in a previous video. And in the video, I mentioned that if you don't have 4¼ inches of space to put the journaling strips, which is the width of the die, this is what I do, is I just type a couple words, go to the next line, type a couple words, go to the next line. Normally I'd actually measure it, didn't have time for that today. Really just eyeballed it. I knew that if I just kind of kept my words about half the width of the form that I had formatted, it would roughly be that 2 to 2.5 inch gap that I've got here. And I just don't really stress too much about that. I know that if my strip covers my photo a little bit, I'm not going to be covering anybody's face or anything like that. And I kind of like the look of having things touching, it just feels a little bit more cohesive. I didn't do that in today's layout because I had the space to kind of give my journaling strips a little bit of like breathing room. So again, this is where I was saying that I had gone back into the shop, and I do have that little like Instax camera over on the left. I thought about using that. Ultimately, I didn't. It was starting to feel a little crowded. So I decided not to put that on there. The only reason that I had cut it out was she had actually asked for one of those Fuji Instax cameras. So that was like our main gift to her, besides she had like a friend's sleepover. So she had 5 little friends come over. And that's a story for another day. So this file is actually 3 banners. 2 of them are connected. I ended up cutting them apart and separating them. I actually planned my pattern papers for when they were connected, so I didn't really love the fact that like the purples are together and the yellows are together. But again, I didn't pre-plan that far ahead. It's fine. It's not that bad. And then I dug through. I've probably got maybe half the pack of the die cuts that match this collection left. So I just kind of picked ones, like I just go through, and if I think it'll work, I slap some glue on it and I make it work. I don't really tend to overthink this kind of stuff. I don't really like audition a bunch of different pieces. I just kind of know that I'm looking for what I would consider the more generic icons. I don't want text. I don't want like giant banners because I've already made my own. I'm just kind of looking for shape, generic, that kind of thing. I thought I was going to use these yellow gems, and then when I was looking for my jewel picker, I actually found the gold pearls, and so I decided to swap them out because the die cuts from this line have some gold, like embossing. Is it embossing? Foiling? Whatever you want to call it. So I felt like those were going to match a little bit better. So I say this all the time. These go quick. They go quick for a reason, and I think it's just because for me it's like a rinse and repeat recipe, or like scrap lifting yourself. And for me, when I don't have a lot of time but I want to be creative, this is what I end up doing. And then the next layout I do will probably take me 5 days because I decided to do 3 hours worth of manual die cutting and make a scene or something. I am kind of like a mood crafter. I'm a mood reader as well. So I just have learned to lean into those moods and to not really force it. I did want to add the date, but I also wanted to add some more interest at the bottom. So I decided to skip a date stamp, and I used some alpha stickers from Doodlebug and a label, and used that to kind of bring in some color and interest down at the bottom. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. As always, I thank you guys for spending a couple minutes with me today. Links to anything and more information, as always, will be down in the description box below. And I am usually available to chat and answer questions in my Facebook group. So with that, I will leave you guys here, and I'll be back soon.